Hello? Hello?
Whoa.
Is that you, Michael?
I hate that song. WPNR, 90.7 FM, Utica College Pioneer Radio, the voice of the pioneers. And right now you're listening to the voice of Michael and Christina at the Culture Show.
Hello, guys.
What's going on?
Another Wednesday.
Another day.
Another beautiful day in Central New York.
I could argue that, but I won't.
Argue, Michael, argue. We've already been incredibly fiery.
It was chilly today, yeah? A little bit, no?
It was humid and then I got chilly, but it's been nice. And there was some sarcasm, but whatever. Michael and I already started our day off fiery with each other.
Yeah.
Sarcasm, angst.
Yes.
A little bit of malice and love all rolled into a big ball of sweatiness.
Because we're friends that border on siblings, and I've yet to have the sibling privilege of putting you in a headlock. But it's getting close.
I will hit you where the sun don't shine.
Too late.
Emotionally, I have done that probably. Yes.
Oh, emotionally, forget about it. I think our levels are a little hot. So, what's going on in local news from the Culture Show?
Locally, there's a couple things like we talked about last week. Signature 81, which is located in New Hartford / Washington Mills, around the Kids Market and Tony's Pizzeria, that area, Packy's Pub. There is a little art shop, art gallery space, and they do an art summer series. And for the month of June, there are 3 artists. June 13th from 7 to 9 is Weathered Heather.
The second artist, I don't think I like very much.
Yeah, she's the second artist on June 21st from 7 to 9 is me. And then June 28th from 7 to 9 is Dawn Farrar.
Dawn Farrar.
Farrar.
Yeah.
Farrar. So
what does the space look like?
The space has a lot. It kind of has an eclectic mix of art, jewelry, hobbyist work, fine artwork. The space where you can show, there's 2 options. One, it kind of acts as a classroom / gallery, and then the other one is kind of like a small gallery space.
Very cool.
Yep. So what they're going to be doing is for the summer months, they'll have 3 or 4 gallery nights. Check them out. Right now it's just June. You can find the event on our Facebook page, find out the address, times, days, all that good stuff, who the artists are.
At www.facebook.com/The Culture Show.
Thank you, Michael. So that's one thing. So check out the.
So how long? But wait. So it's just one night that's
the opening.
That's the open. So how long is the stuff going to be there? Like
a week.
A week.
Yeah.
Okay. A week or a night?
A week.
A weeknight.
A week.
A week. When? Oh, so what day is it?
Mine's the 21st.
What day?
That's a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Or a Friday. I think it's a Saturday.
Let's check the calendar.
Saturdays.
It's Saturday?
Because you're going to have to help me install on Friday.
Oh, you have this planned. I like that you have that planned already. And I didn't even know that you had the show. That's amazing. That is amazing.
Si, senor.
That is June 21st is a Saturday. You are correct, ma'am.
So we will be installing on Friday. Because if I install on my own, all my work will be slightly tilted higher on the right-hand side.
Yeah, down on the left.
And they will always look straight in my eyes.
One of your legs is shorter than the other.
Yes.
We've already established that.
I think my eye is just saggy.
You have a lazy. I think you have a lazy eye.
So that's one thing. So go please check that out. The other thing is the Upstate Flux open crit, which I'm actually pretty excited about.
Me too.
Me and Michael have always talked about doing a crit, and what's really cool about this is that it gives a chance for an artist to talk about their work. I actually have a few things that I would like to approach to whoever's in the group. Mm-hmm. One, I'm interested in maybe not framing my photos anymore, and options or alternatives that could be presented into how to name my work or my series, because I'm kind of hitting a wall with that. So those are a couple things that I want to bring to the table to see if anyone can give me good feedback on.
Very good.
But the open crit is open to anybody. It's Thursday, June 9th at 8 p.m. at Upstate Flux.
19th.
Sorry, thank you. June 19th at Upstate Flux. The address is 920 Apartment D, Columbia Street in Utica. So please, if you have artwork, you want to talk about your work, you want to see how a crit is, and you just want to be an observer, definitely go check that out. I think it would be really beneficial, especially if you want to learn a little bit about art, how artists talk, all that good stuff.
It's a great opportunity to see things that are happening, with artists in the area. And yeah, it's an added bonus. I like to promote gallery talks as much as possible because it's a learning experience as far as getting into the artist's head. But in a crit situation, you're getting in a deeper level of understanding because you're also dealing with the artist's likes and dislikes, and there's a little bit of vulnerability there, and it really puts you in a space to appreciate what an artist has to do on a much deeper level.
Right. I think always, too, to have the idea that I think that since I've been back in the area, there hasn't really been much of a conversation about work, Which
is a vital part of a process. A vital part of an artist working is feedback. You can't just live in a cave and expect real growth. There's always going to be a level of stagnation if you're not bouncing ideas off other creative people.
Can you say stagnation in a southern accent?
Stagnation.
Thank you. All right, continue.
There'll always be a level of stagnation.
Perfect.
Is that like tarnation?
Yeah,
stagnation.
Exactly.
So bouncing your stuff off other people is a breath of fresh air. It allows you a little bit of objectivity. It's a couple of steps back. You're so wrapped up in what you're doing. Sometimes you don't see it clearly.
I can see clearly now. The crit is done. Sorry.
That was awesome. That was awesome. I like that you knew subconsciously to go away from the microphone a little bit, but you still did it anyway. That was really good. So, anyway, Art Crit, yeah, come on by. That's really amazing.
I don't think it costs anything. I think it's just you show up with your work. I think it's
a logistical element of the scheduling of this is that 920 Columbia Street is directly behind. It's right across the street from the rear parking lot of the brewery.
Right.
So everyone in Utica knows as Utica is Saranac Thursday.
Right.
At the brewery. If you're there, come on by. Come on by drunk. It's just across the street.
Yeah, we'll critique you. We'll just critique you.
A drunk crit sometimes is even better because you're even more honest.
That's true.
It may be a little bit more violent, but hey, that's the fun of it.
Or just sweaty.
Well, that may happen anyway. It is a bunch of artists.
I feel like that should be like Christina, sweaty and slurred would be like my tagline.
Speaking to the microphone as you say slurred.
I feel like that would be like my tagline for my...
On your business cards?
Yeah,
maybe?
Christina, sweaty and slurred.
Slutty or sweaty?
Sweaty and slurred.
I don't know what's going on.
So yeah, please come by. Even if you just want to watch the crit and be a part of something like that, that would be amazing to see.
Yep.
So.
Yep. What else is going on in town?
There's the restaurant week, which was something we tapped into last week.
But we have information now, right? Food for thought. The Food for Thought, a Project U fundraiser call to artists. It's happening Thursday, June 12th, from 5 to 7 at the Tramontaine Cafe on Lincoln Ave in Utica. One of the best coffee houses in the area.
You can get vegan cookies.
That's not a selling point for me.
You can't get vegan cookies.
If you can make a cookie with a pork shank in it, I will eat a pork shank cookie.
Pork?
Poink?
Poink? So, again, this Food for Thought, a Project Do fundraiser called The Artist, is kind of kickstarting Restaurant Week. You can find that on our Facebook page. If you want to be a part of it, the theme obviously would be food-related, or how you interpret food, how you interpret consumerism, how you interpret plastic microwave trays, whatever you think of when you think of food, and its involvement in you as a consumer, as a eater.
As an eater?
As an eater. I was trying to think. What would it be? A consumer, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want it to sound like consumer.
Well, in
like,
the context of food, you consume food, I guess.
As a herbivore, an omnivore, a carnivore. Ooh. I think I'm just going to take food that I don't eat and just smush it on something and put it between two baggies and then staple it.
Okay, and then what's that going to be?
And we'll bring it in.
Oh, that's going to be your art?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Talking
thought...
about waste.
Okay.
Time management skills. You
may want to bring that up at the crit.
I should do that.
Let's see what other people have to think about.
Oh, I'm going to bring it.
That.
I'm going to bring it. If you have an opinion about my staple food baggie situation, you call Michael Giordani.
Yeah.
And you tell him about it.
Yes, at 555. That's not my number.
639.
And it is a fundraiser for Project U. All of the artwork that's going to be up at the tram is going to be for sale, and the money is going to go back into Project U, and with hopes of bringing you more art-related things in the area.
Perfect. So
Perfection.
Make sure that you go
Thursday, June 12th from 5 to 7. Go have a cup of coffee.
And there's going to be food there from Restaurant Week people.
As they say downstate, have a cup of coffee.
Cup of coffee.
Hey, forget about it. Have a cup of coffee. Sit down. Have some cake.
I want cake. I was actually craving a piece of pizza today.
As opposed to when
a half moon, like and a black and white cookie, not a half moon, a black and white cookie.
Because that's different. Thank you very much.
It is very different.
Thank you. It is very different. That's an entire Seinfeld episode, by the way.
Is there?
Yes.
That talks about the difference between a black and white cookie and a half moon?
Yes. Yeah, I know. Well, it talks about what a real black and white is. I think it is. Anyway.
Wow.
Art on the Wall and Plate. That's a long title. Utica Restaurants and Art Show Week.
So
Utica's Restaurant and Art Show Week.
So what we were just talking about was the tram kickstarting Restaurant Week.
Mm-hmm.
Restaurant Week itself is June 9th through the 15th. Some examples of artists that you can see at Aquavino on the 10th. You can see Keith Sandman.
Yay! Photographer and professor extraordinaire, Mr. Keith Sandman.
And Kathy Donovan.
He's a local legend. Legend.
At the Lotus Garden, you can see Peter Leone. That's on Wednesday the 11th. On Thursday the 12th at the Tram, the Food for Thought, the Project U fundraiser Kickstarter.
Very good.
At Tiny's is Maria Vallis?
Yes.
Zina's Cafe. Is it Zina's or Zena's?
I thought Zena's. I've heard Zena's.
Zena's?
I've heard, but I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, the really good Lebanese
You're not giving the dates, because they're all different dates, the kickoffs.
Yeah, I just said on the... I said
that.
Oh,
you said that? Oh, you've been saying that.
I didn't say anything for Tiny's because there's not a date.
That's on
Thursday.
As well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, for Tiny's, Thursday the 12th with Maria. On the Friday the 13th... is Tim Rand, who's a very great artist from Clinton. He's got a great open studio if you're driving on 12B. He always has an open sign. You could always check out his work there. At Gerber's
What is that ceramic?
No.
What is that?
He has a house.
Studio? But what's the open studio on 12B?
His house he'll have like a flag that says open, and you can come and check out his work, as well as I think he showcases some other artists' work.
And what does he do?
He paints. He kind of paints like... Sometimes he'll do like celebrity paintings or something, but
paintings,
but kind of in like a Chuck's Close kind of way.
Okay.
Ish.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Ish. He had the big. Have you ever seen? He had like the House painting, the picture of House, the guy from House, Dennis Leary or whatever his name is.
Hugh Laurie.
Hugh Laurie.
Yikes.
Anyways, So Tim Rand is going to be at Zina's on Friday the 13th. On the 14th, which is a Saturday, Gerber's, Fiona O'Downey.
Mm-hmm.
The font is so small.
Everybody's name sounds like a question.
Oh. I think Doug, when we started the show, that said that I can't make statements with that kind of tone, but I can't read it.
Voice. In your head you can't read it. Your voice, you have to project confidence.
Whatever. Anyways, it's on the 15th, which is a Sunday, at Swifties, is Dawn Farrar and Rochelle Mackey. So those are some of the artists. Please go to some of those restaurants. Aquavino, Lotus Garden, The Tram, Tiny, Zina's, Gerber's, Swifties.
All good food.
All good food. See some good art. There's some other, like the Dev, Babes, Ancora, Secret Garden. They're also participating. Make sure that you go and check out these artists. Make sure you support local restaurants.
Yes.
We got to keep these places thriving.
Yes. Shut down the Olive Garden.
Why are they Target Olive Garden, man? They got unlimited salad and breadsticks.
Because it's the newest.
That's true.
It's the newest big thing that was busy immediately. That was completely unnecessary.
I know.
Area.
I'm just saying there's other places.
Gosh,
I feel like they should have kept Ponderosa open. That's a personal bias.
Oh, yeah, of course. Where else are you going to get salmonella and E. coli in the same dish?
Can we go on a date to the East Dynasty buffet?
Oh, my God.
Can we go there sometime together?
Oh, yes.
I feel like that's a part, like a relationship in our relationship that we have not ventured down yet, and I think it needs to happen sooner.
Can I tell you what was featured on one episode of Louis C.K.'s show? Something called Bang Bang.
Yeah, you were. Did we watch that, or did we?
I told you about Bang. Did I talk about it on the air, or?
I don't think so.
Bang Bang is when you go to a restaurant and you have a full meal, and then you immediately go to another restaurant and have another full meal.
I feel like we could do that.
Bang. We could totally do that.
I feel like we were those times where we were conflicted about Tex-Mex and fish fillets that we should have just bang banged the situation.
That was it. And they had to they had to figure out what they were going to do, so they were throwing out options. Italian, Chinese, no, IHOP barbecue, no, and they settled on Indian diner. And it was a horrible.
That sounds messy.
It was a horrible.
But I feel like we have encountered situations where
we should have bang bang.
I think we wanted to, but I think we knew better. We're
not brave enough. We're not strong enough.
That's true.
We gave in to our weakness. We
time,
care too much what people think.
I see that from you.
What's so wrong with heart disease?
Nothing.
What is so wrong with diabetes? Who needs 2 feet? Who needs 2 feet?
I think I've seen your toes before, and I don't think you need either one of your foot.
My feet are gorgeous.
Are they?
How dare you? You've complimented my feet.
Really?
You don't remember anything, woman. Absolutely you did. At Megan's, I remember.
At Megan's? Oh, yeah. when I had to share a cot with you or whatever?
Well, whatever. So...
I feel like when you were sleeping and just snoring up a storm, and I just could see your feet, and I was like, "That's all I had just to keep me from killing you." Is just staring at your dainty feet.
My feet are gorgeous. My snoring is a whole other different issue. I don't want to talk about right now.
So, anyways, lots of stuff.
That is lots of stuff this week.
Yes,
it's getting good. Hopefully, the summer continues to get some stuff going on around here.
There are a lot of great fine and contemporary artists in this area. You just need to be open-minded and buy their work. Darn it.
Well, yeah. That's the unfortunate part, where they need to be seeked out because there's not a real venue for any of the local artists.
I mean,
that's supported in any good way. But these events are meant to put the word out, so hopefully some momentum would be created, that maybe eventually something would happen. Something would open up.
Not that they bought my work, and they should have, and if you're listening, I implore you to buy it, but the president of MVCC and the mayor both complimented and they were both very interested in my pieces.
Well, you should harass them.
I should email them and be like, listen, guys,
hi, you like my stuff?
Bills just ain't stopping because, blah, 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 blah.
But that's nice. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it would be good if they bought it. Buy it. Buy it.
People have to really understand the investment, and if people could get past initial biases or prejudices against art that they may have on whatever level, if they could come to realizing that it is part of the community that could be a money maker, if not from byproducts of just having, what else is going to give me something else that's going to energize downtown Utica, Genesee Street. Give me something else other than a group of people at night walking around being social.
Right.
It's a ghost town after 4 o'clock when the government buildings and the corporations close.
Right.
And there's no presence of any activity after that. Varick Street's not going to carry a city.
Absolutely not. I was talking to the person from...
who gets yelled at when they look at their phone?
My mom texted me and she goes, "You're really going to go to the East Dynasty with my puppy?"
And see, that's the part that she focuses on. She just wants to come along, that's all.
That's true. I'm sure she does. Well, something that I was talking about with the person who spearheads Upstate Flux is that how kind of which doesn't really have a proper name, and I think it almost could be dubbed something, which is the where the Onion, Domenico's, the Other Side Gallery is, where there's actually kind of mobility there, that there's people there walking to the cafe, walking to...
Sure.
Things, the Hop and Goblet opened, which is a specialty craft beer place, the Slice place that has, like, a specific kind of pizza. Like, there's actually kind of, like... But it's not just geared towards alcohol. It's geared towards... It's a conversation. It could be something, and the other thought, and the other side. Excuse me, my tongue got in the way. The other side, which is what Domenico Cafe uses as a space to show art, is promoting some stuff in the area. Exactly.
And it's trying to interject, and there are things that are trying to be interjected, but it needs support from outside of the small group that keeps on, and it's just about getting the word out, I guess.
Right. It's about getting the word out. It's about artists supporting artists, but artists promoting each other to get non-artists to come to see work too. It's a great thing to go and support your friends. Yeah. But it's another thing to get somebody who maybe has never seen art, or somebody who understands it but just didn't know about the event, because artist to artist, it's not enough.
Exactly.
It's not enough. So. On that note, I think Michaels was very excited to talk about this article coming up that he posted about. Well,
it's a great article from New York Magazine. It's focused on music,
which is something we don't talk about too often.
It doesn't, but when I read the article, I was actually reading it in terms of artistic endeavors in other realms as well. Not just music. You
texted me that, didn't you? Today was kind of like a foggy day for me.
I don't want to talk about it, okay?
Okay. I'm sorry. Continue.
I asked you to read the article.
I know.
And I found out that you were off today.
Yeah, well.
And you skimmed the article. So what? Give me your. Okay, so this is the book report. Give me your synopsis give me your cliff notes of the article and what it means and what it says. Why am I interested in it?
Well,
if you've ever seen a deer in the headlights.
From what I remember when I read it, was that
quote unquote read. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just trying to put you on the spot.
So, from what I gathered, it was an article touching on it. So I read kind of the beginning, and then it dragged along.
It was a very long article. I'm sorry, all of those words were there.
It's intense. I had to look up 90% of them.
They were in your way from watching the Golden Girls.
I have not been watching the Golden Girls. I'm taking a hiatus from them.
You really?
Me and the girls need a break.
Really? You're getting a little too
I'm just too dependent on them.
Yeah, you get codependent on Sophia.
I was quoting them way too much in my head. I just needed to like flush it out a little.
Yeah, you can't live your life on what happened in Sicily in 1942.
Can't you though? I don't know. I feel like you can.
Picture it.
I want to do the Golden Girls drinking game. That I actually think I want it to be my bachelorette party.
Did I link that on the site? I wanted to, and I don't think I did.
I don't know.
There's a Golden Girls drinking game. You watch an episode of the Golden Girls, and for each Golden Girl, there is a you drink when each one of them does one of their idiosyncratic things. Like when Sophia talks about Sicily, when she has a Sicily story,
she says picture it,
you take a shot.
Yeah.
When Rose, Betty White's character, talks about a story from where is she from?
St. Olaf.
St. Olaf. You drink when B is being
or when Dorothy's being bossy.
Not bossy, when she gives advice.
Yeah.
When she gives advice. And what was Blanche's?
I think just being Blanche.
What does she?
Probably a story.
Oh, Big Daddy. If she says a Big Daddy story, which I didn't like because it's not that often, right?
No, I think she
not
does.
That often.
I think when she talks about men, which would you just be in 25 seconds, just.
So maybe when she says Big Daddy, you should take like maybe 3 shots because that'll be like.
But then the other thing is the other part is that you either get, I forgot what the words they use, but. Whether you take the jab or you get jabbed. You know when they do jabbing at each other?
You gotta finish your drink.
You gotta, pick if you want to be whoever your character is. It sounds like a great game.
Anyway, it sounds like a very great game.
And I want to do that.
And a great game to black out to. Because that's all that the show is, basically.
So anyways, so the article that Michael posted, from what I remember, it kind of started where it talked a lot about the Journey song with Don't Stop Believin' and how when
Don't stop believing. Hold on. I don't know the words, but
yeah, you do.
I don't really know the words.
But how when it came out, it wasn't really like a hit, and then how it kind of like over time turned into this like thing.
Yes.
And but what is the term called? Schlock. Kind of, I mean, if you want to talk about it in terms of... Because I looked up schlock. I didn't know what schlock was.
Okay.
So I looked that up.
Okay. And what was the definition?
It was like a Yiddish term for something like secondhand, something kind of sloppy, something kind of... It could kind of...
Yes.
Whatever.
I'm going to let you go. Go ahead.
That's all I got.
That's all you got? Really?
From the definition of schlock?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I got from it.
So how does that relate to...
Well, these songs are not really originals. They're just kind of pumped out filler songs, and I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I read enough of the article to get what you probably wanted me to get out of it.
I wanted you to read the article.
I know.
And then we're going to talk about it, the article. But anyway, so Schlock...
I'm sure I can interject an opinion. You just.
Oh yeah, no, your opinions are awesome. So.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Your eyeball popped out of your head when you said that, and you pushed it back in.
I'm sorry. Did you read sarcasm in that comment? So schlock, the definition from Yiddish is secondhand, but it has been used in pop culture throughout the past decades, from the 20s basically on, as pulpy, popular songs that were not deep in meaning,
right?
And not
which is 99.9% of the songs today.
Well, it is now, but the gist of the article is how our tastes culturally, musically, specifically, over the past few decades, have really swung the opposite way from where a song would come out that was, very melodramatic and very kind of in your face as to what it was supposed to be, was not deemed to be popular, or not deemed to be critically acceptable or have any critical benefit, as opposed to these deep, progressive rock and stuff like that. So anyway, that's just framed in music on how these popular things were deemed as schlock. You pump them out, people are going to like them because they're simple, but they weren't taken seriously, with the big quotes, as far as what music critics could deem as serious. Fast forward to now, songs like Don't Stop Believing, you can't put that on and not have 5 people say, yeah, Journey, woo! And that's been the majority of our pop music is the simplicity and the switch in that. So my take on it, and what I was really liking, is the whys behind that. Why do you think we have taken a much more simpler approach? Does it have to do with us not wanting deeper messages or meaning? Not wanting to do any poetic work? When you read a poem, there's an element of work that you have to kind of put into it. You have to piece it apart to get a deeper understanding sometimes. But are we finding that worth it now?
Is that rhetorical?
No, well, I'm asking you. What do you think?
Well, I don't know where this. I feel like with other shows that we've had in the past, we've kind of always talked about the quality of the contemporary person going to a gallery, mm-hmm. or what that means. We've kind of targeted sometimes, maybe I remember I was talking about like a woman who stays home all day, whether it's a housewife or a stay-at-home mom. Like, what is her priority? Is it
yes,
to go to a gallery? Probably not.
Yeah.
Same thing with music, I think, which is unfortunate because music in a lot of ways is so much more accessible, mm-hmm. that you would think that there would be a little bit more experimentation and play with rhetoric and all of the good stuff. But I feel like, again, people want to be dumb and people want to be...
But why? I mean, that's a real blanket statement.
I think.
But why?
I think that in my always with my conspiracy theories and everything like that, I think in a lot of ways we are pumped. You deserve to relax. You deserve to not think today. You've worked hard. In reality, I'm sorry, you probably haven't done much of anything today. And so everyone tells themselves...
But that element of Americana, I will agree with you. That's a very strong element. There's a very... See,
I didn't need to read the article.
No.
All right,
no, I know you have opinions. Well, no, but that's a strong one. We have a leisure-based society,
right?
Since the Industrial Revolution and since
probably I want to say the 50s. I think when Mad Men and stuff, when that was
post World War II, I would
yes.
Okay, so post World War II probably even more than Industrial Revolution, we became leisure-based. We've the work ethic came into play, right. Where you work hard and then you play hard. That is Mad Men.
Yeah.
You work hard and you play hard. So it is in our American fantasy to need that kind of relaxation to make everything else worth it.
Right.
Where in other cultures, you are what you do, and there's kind of more of accepting. Here, we put on the suit, and as soon as we come home, that has to come off immediately to put on the polo short and shorts and enjoy the American dream.
Right.
So I like that you're placing this lack of intellectual work as part of that. You don't want to have to think.
Right.
You don't want to have to think. You want things soothed.
Right. But the ironic thing about all of that is that you want to be, if you want to use the word soothed, or not really, you don't want to think about the woes of the world and the troubles, but in reality, probably more times than not, you're not burdened probably with that much. The average person who we're probably talking about is, you know what I mean? So it's it's the ironic thing to me. It's like I need to feel relaxed, so I'm not going to indulge myself into anything of literacy or art or culture or anything because I deserve to relax because I worked today.
Yeah.
And that's what makes 90% of our culture probably.
And the reality is kind of far from that. The art reflection that I got from the idea of schlock, the idea of things that are popular to be popular without any other deeper meaning, and how we are finding deeper meaning in the popular things, was really once again showing a big divide in the art that is to be thought about and what everybody else deals with. The art that's to be thought about, that's not considered schlock, is being appreciated by fewer and fewer people over the decades culturally in this country.
Yeah.
And, that divide that I keep talking about is spurned by our love for these simple things.
Which is still, again, weird to me because it's like, not that this has to do, I guess it kind of, with the availability of seeing something like art on the internet, or to get an idea of something. The same thing kind of with music.
Yeah, but,
it's so readily available that it's more ironic that you want it to be more simplified. That it's so readily available that you can't choose to educate yourself. That you want it, you don't.
I may have a different opinion on whether or not you can actually educate yourself to appreciate this upper echelon contemporary art that is meant to be thought about. It is still a group activity, it's even sadder to see it shrink, knowing that it is a group activity. I don't think you could come to it on your own. I think it's something that needs conversations, and not just reading in a book. In a book, it gets very cold, and you don't really understand it. We understand it because we went to art school. We were surrounded by it. We were forced to talk about it.
Right.
Our projects were to use words to explain these things that are ultimately unknowable and unthinkable.
Right.
So I think the picture that you're painting of a housewife trying to look on the computer at a contemporary artist there's a disconnect there.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess it's not. I see that. I just think it's just ironic that things are so readily available. Yet there's.
But the community's not there.
Right.
But the community isn't. The community doesn't support the availability of this.
Yeah.
So that even actually strengthens the outsider perception of what's going on. Because the community's not there, but somebody could see it very readily, it pushes it that much further away from you.
Right.
So it amplifies the separation that's inherently there. But the other half of the article, which kind of impressed me, which is kind of, I guess, should be the more conversation, is using schlock as art. I mean, using schlock, if that's where we are, if that's where our tastes are, then that's where the art has to come from.
Right. Roll with the times.
You have to talk to the people. And I think that's, again, one of the biggest problems is that with the separation, with this upper echelon, they have no idea how to speak to the population.
Right.
Which is why there's not a popular artist now. Jeff Koons is maybe one, Damien Hirst as well, who have more of...
Are they both British? Damien's British.
Damien's British. No.
Jeff
Koons is
not.
No. He's Midwestern, I think. Don't quote me.
Why, 'cause his last name is Koons.
Why would that be Midwestern? I said Midwestern.
What's Midwestern?
Midwestern is...
like Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yeah, raccoons, wood wildlife.
What do you know? Jeez, man. Way to just put the brakes on what I'm trying to talk about. Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst are one of the two of the most successful artists, and two of the artists that kind of have recognition by the populace. Kind of, right? I think Damien Hirst has been on the news a little bit.
I think people would recognize his glittered skull, that diamond skull,
maybe.
And I think people would recognize Jeff Koons.
But even just as personality, I think they're kind of known.
I have no idea.
They're the only two that I can go to that are closest to what Andy Warhol was.
Oh, what about Ross Bleckner or Ross?
Bob Ross?
Bob Ross.
No, that's a different conversation. I'm talking about the upper... Why are you trying to derail what I'm trying to say?
Sorry, I just want to see how valid your points are by you.
By letting me not get to them.
Exactly.
Jeez.
All right, go. I'm listening.
What was I saying?
Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst are artists that are on the playing at the top, but still accessible to, you think, to like some average folk.
And they are the most schlocky artists. Their art is schlock, and that's the interesting part.
Yeah.
The interesting part is that Jeff Koons deals with nothing but base popular imagery. He had a whole thing on just the Incredible Hulk, balloon animals. I mean, how goofy and simplistic can you be in that? And Damien Hirst as well. His images are very simple. They are.
Michael, aren't you making a point? Aren't you making a point right now? Keep your eyes on the prize, man.
They are criticized by the art community for being schlocky. People turn their nose up on their success because of their simplicity. So it's interesting that that divide is there, but maybe it has to be readdressed as far as what critically what could be considered good art. I think. I like the article because I like to think the stuff that I deal with is very schlocky. It's very base. I appreciated those kinds of things in my art, be it sexual innuendo, be it some level of biological vulgarity. It's base. It's things that everybody understands but never kind of really deals with. Mm-hmm. And it's done in a very cartoony manner, which is, again, like a visual shorthand that everybody knows. And I've always appreciated that kind of simplicity. So anyway.
Well, you kind of tapped on something I would like you maybe to elaborate, but you were saying how, like, these two artists, Damien Hirst and Jeff Koons, make this schlocky?
Yeah, whatever.
Art, but then the people that maybe the group that is putting their nose up to it, why do you think there's a clash with that?
Oh, well, on paper it's jealousy because they're making a lot of money without
doing too much.
Without this, I mean, if you watch an average Art 21 episode, Art 21 is an amazing. If you want to talk, if you want to talk about anything that Christina is talking about the availability of being able to be exposed to contemporary art at your fingertips, Art 21 is a PBS series that does nothing but has a segment with a contemporary artist. That lets the artist just do all of the explaining, and it's behind the scenes in their studio, and it is a rich view into the life of a contemporary artist and their work. But if you watch an average episode, the verbiage that's used, I mean, the art speak that we've talked about previously,
right.
The way that they communicate is sometimes so foreign from the way the way normal people communicate about things.
Right.
Because they're taught that if it isn't bogged down with so many of these verbal cues, and then the pedigree isn't there.
Right.
Then it's not a show dog. It's just a regular mongrel on the street. And Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst they're anti that. If you listen to Jeff Koons talk about his work, he sounds more like the Dalai Lama than an artist.
Really?
He uses simple sentences, simple words. It's matter of fact to him. And that is half of the appeal to a lot of people. But it I think subconsciously it shows the man behind the curtain aspect of contemporary artists, how they can't just use simple words because then nobody would think that they're being serious.
Right. That's kind of unfortunate. But in a lot of ways, that's how I feel when I'm asked to write an artist statement.
Oh, absolutely.
You feel very bogged down with having to sound very flowery.
Flowery?
And overly justified, or like it can't just be a
intellectual.
Simple.
Absolutely. When you're asked to write an artist statement, you feel like you're going to be judged for that artist statement. Mm-hmm. It's like a resume. If you don't format the resume in a socially acceptable manner, it's not going to be taken seriously.
Right.
Because that is, in and of itself, a skill that someone needs to know that you have.
Right.
And it's the same thing with an artist statement. If you don't use certain words and if you don't frame it properly, people are not going to take you seriously, regardless of what your art looks like. And I think that's a very unfortunate part of it. And that's part of this academic structuring of the whole thing that, it pushes a lot of people away. That's why I found the benefit of Schlock. I found the benefit of Schlock as...
I like it. I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah. Only, But anyway...
Did you want to kind of roll into that with the time-based piece? I looked over that one.
The time-based was just... I like that on many different levels.
Are we talking about the taco truck?
Oh, the taco truck also... No, well, that I just think, will that work?
I have a meat wagon. Maybe we can use it. My brother's got the meat truck.
Oh, we're going to talk seriously, because I'm dead seriously. We're going to talk seriously.
I don't know if it runs. I can ask him.
Well, I mean, that could be a small investment. All
right, we'll talk later.
We'll talk later about that, yeah. It's a quick article from the New York Times about mobile art galleries, where you take a box truck, you turn the inside into a gallery, and you go around and show people stuff.
Toot toot.
I loved that idea immediately, and I wonder if that would garner interest.
It could. You just rolled up one day on Saranac Thursday.
And you got a box. Okay, well, Christina and I are going to be planning on stuff. So the other quick thing I'll just mention is this Time article on how culturally different cultures think and experience time differently.
Michael put his finger up to make that point.
I guess that, yes.
That was him?
Yes. Because the experience of time is something we take for granted. I'm sure of it.
When I was breezing through it, when I was looking at the diagrams and stuff and reading part of it, it was interesting for me to read it and try to rationalize the other way. I feel like in some ways I have the very American, like, linear, we look at things in the future, we plan, mm-hmm. and we're always kind of like 2 steps ahead of ourselves, but we're always, have these increments of things.
Yeah.
But then there's parts of me that I feel like could be very leisurely, like the radio show. If we get here at 10 after, we get here, everyone will wait for us.
If you read an article,
if lunch needs to be an hour and 15 minutes, that's how it's got to be. But like, I with looking at like the Asian and the Eastern way, I think is very interesting. That I don't think I could really wrap my head around, like actually trying to like participate in.
Yeah.
Or even like they're talking about like Madagascar. But that makes sense to me in a weird way that the future's in the back.
I'll give that as an example, the only example, because we don't have that much time and to not get so deep into it. The way we experience time is so taken for granted that we don't even think about it, to the point where trying to think how other people could experience it differently is sometimes more than we could actually realize. So in our linear way of thinking, the past is behind us, we are right now, and the future is ahead of us, like a road on our journey, on a path,
right?
Down the line. These are expressions that illustrate how we think in a linear fashion. There's a straight line, and we're on it, and we're going somewhere. In Madagascar, and different cultures think about it differently. Some are, of course, more cyclical. The Asian is very cyclical.
I didn't really understand that one diagram. I was trying to like. It's difficult to understand how you could deal with different things as far as our scheduled
days and our scheduled weeks and our scheduled existence, how things get much more fluid and kind of go into one another. But the direct opposite of our linear is how they view time in Madagascar. The future is not behind them. The past is not behind them. The past is ahead of them.
Which makes sense in a lot of ways.
The past happened. Yeah. The use of past experiences are relied on subconsciously and experientially in a different way because it has happened. You could look back at it.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm even using the
terminology.
You could look at it as a source of
which I think is
of information and experience. And the future is thought to be behind them, behind your eyes, where you cannot see. The future is not planned in a way that we plan it here. It's not a destination. Right. It is something that we have not experienced yet because it hasn't enveloped us yet. The present hasn't enveloped us in order for it to become the past so we could understand it. It's a simple twist, but what it does to your psychology and how events are absorbed and understood makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
And it's something worth considering. The article, interestingly enough, comes from BusinessInsider.com. It's meant, and its focus is on business relationships culturally.
Right.
If you have an appointment on 2:15 on a Tuesday, and you're from a Western country, if you're an American, you're there at 2:15. If you're from Spain, well, they have a meeting before that went a little bit longer because a Spanish
will settle their business.
Is more the priority is the meeting itself, not when it ends and when it begins. The priority is the meeting. So the meeting is going to go over a little bit because you have to finish your business, and the respect is given to the business end of it as opposed to the punctuality.
Right.
Where in our Western society, the punctuality is shown as a huge part of respect. If you get there on time, that means you're ready to have business.
Right.
So in the business world, it helps to negotiate these kind of cultural differences.
And and in the business world, it was talking about doing business with an Eastern, like somebody from China, and how in America, and we experience that all the time at my job. We want an answer right now.
Sure.
We wanted it 10 minutes ago.
Sure.
And it's not the most effective at my job, but that's not the point. But in China, they want to mull it over. They want to take time to figure out, is this the best answer before just being hasty. And it's interesting. I'd be interested too. My uncle does a lot with international travel, and the adapting and learning and respecting the different cultures is very interesting. But I think just thinking about time differently and how you are in this kind of world, moving through or not moving through or whatever, is just pretty profound. Good article.
Yeah. I was happy to find it.
Apparently in time, grammar does not matter.
No, find, it's all the same thing. But yeah, looking at things differently, it kind of unlocks a framework that you didn't even know existed.
Right.
And
I'd be interested.
and then dealing with how, like, other things are cyclical, I align myself more with different ways of thinking about time as other people do, and find problems with this linear thing sometimes.
Right. I'd be curious with how globalization, is, how much the Western ways, think about a plane, or like they kind of talk about trains, think about the interactions that we have. Clearly, I feel like the West is winning in the implementation that the linear method.
Well, we're talking about politics on a global level, and superpowers, and whoever has the most toys is going to dictate the rules of the game.
Right.
And all I could probably say about that confidently is that things are changing.
Right.
Where it used to be us, I don't think it's us as much. Definitely not as much, and it may not be for longer. China, India,
right.
These things are happening faster than we could adapt.
Right.
So we could very well be dealing in a cyclical time frame sooner than we think.
Maybe we can adapt to the metric system.
Nope. Metric system?
Jeez Louise.
What's wrong with feet?
All right. Well, this is the Culture Show on 90.7, home of the Pioneers. You can check out our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/thecultureshow. Make sure you go to these events that we're talking about. Make sure you breeze through the articles that we are talking about. Get familiar with them. If you have any questions, you can always post on our Facebook page, message us, whatever. If you have something you'd like to share, we would love to have you post something or send us a link. That'd be fantastic.
Feedback would be welcomed, please. So have a great week, everybody.
Adios, amigos.
Bye, Christina.
Bye, Michael.
I love you.
No, you don't.
Don't end on such a sour note.
Yeah.
WPNR 90.7. Goodbye.
Adios.
Adios.